Alan, is there a lot more positivity surrounding Hibs after the last few weeks? Performances have been better, January signings have been good, there's obviously the investment as well. Are things really looking up for the club?
Yeah, I think, when you look at that, what you've just mentioned there about the investment, I think that's really, I think it's gave everybody a lift, because I think before that, the season was really a little bit in a no man's position where they weren't really threatening the top four. They were never really, going to be near the bottom places, but it was just floating around, and I think since then, the positive news of the investment, clearing the debt that was obviously there, new signings. I think there's been a real upsurge, and it's probably come at a good time in terms of this fixture as well.
A good times in terms of the fixture, but also in terms of the league fight as well. Do you expect that it can give them that lift to get Hibs into the top six and further into the Scottish Cup as well?
Well, I think what Nick will be stressing to the players is that he wants a really strong end to the season, because it has, in the first half, been disappointing in terms of what their target was and their aspirations this season, and realistically, when you look at the way the season's unfolded, is that fourth place was a real possibility this year, with the likes of, you look at Aberdeen's form, who would normally be there or thereabouts. It's been a little bit of a missed opportunity. So I would fully expect Hibs to carry on the impressive form of late.
Maybe had quite a tough start, Nick Montgomery, and not all the fans were sold on him, especially with the style of play and the 4-4-2. The fact that they've changed their formation now, he's now showing that flexibility that people maybe accused him of not having. Is that a real positive as well?
Yeah, I think so. And I think sometimes as a manager and all, is that you want to really set your stamp on the team, and I think you've got to be strong as well at times, even though there's calls from the stands in terms of wanting to change things. He believed at that time that was what he wanted to do. Maybe the fact that he's changed is a reflection on terms of results, but in terms of, and also the players that now he potentially has that he never had then, and he has more confidence, with the group of players to play this style, because it certainly had a positive reaction in terms of the results, because they're in very good form right now.
Considering where Nick was at a point maybe a couple of months ago, when Andrews mentioned that the fans were questioning stuff, to turn it around and to get a top six, how big of an achievement would that be for him?
I think it'll be a real positive for him personally, because I think, in all honesty, and in terms of where their budget is right now, I think top six is a minimum, for them, even being honest. But from where they were to suddenly they've given themselves a chance of having a really strong finish, I think it's been a real positive for them. I think whenever you're new to a club, and especially they feel as if Nick's the right guy to take the club forward, is that they have to back him as well. They can't keep changing the manager all the time, and then a new manager comes in, different ideas, players move on again, and it seems to be a little bit of a hamster wheel where we just keep going round and round and round. So it's good, because I think obviously the club has changed a lot of managers, and it's always the easiest thing to do. But I think in all, they have to look within as well. Why they've been making these decisions, why they've been getting them wrong, and hopefully now, there can be a bit of stability, at the club, and the club can start to make progress on the pitch, because they obviously certainly have made it off the pitch recently with the new investments.
You've obviously had fond memories of this fixture in the Scottish Cup. What's the sort of key to ensuring Hibs get a victory over Rangers?
Well, I think from looking at previous games, is certainly Hibs have got to be better defensively. There's no doubt about that. I think going forward they've got an extra element that they didn't have in previous games, which will help them on the day. But defensively, they've had a couple of heavy defeats from this Rangers team, and there's a few factors which are going to be important. obviously Easter Road is probably going to be a full house. You know, it's not an easy place to go to. I think the team's coming into the game in as much confidence as what they probably have all season. And Rangers are coming off the back of a disappointing home result. You know, so Hibs have got to really make it uncomfortable. They've got to really start the game well and take it to Rangers and ask questions of them. Because if they do that, they're going to have to play as well as what they can. And Rangers are going to have to play, you know, at not maybe 80% to get a result. And that's being really honest. You know, Rangers have been, you know, they've been impressive of late. You know, they've more or less, you know, bullied the way through teams because of the size and the pace and the strength. It's a different, when you look at the two teams, you look at Celtic and Rangers, you know, they're two very different contrasting teams. One more direct, one wants to play. And I think that's where Hibs have got to be really clever in the play. They've got to be sharp, they've got to play lots of little quick balls and try and get at this Rangers defence, who have not necessarily been as good as what they have been, you know, at times. So I think it's got a really good look to it, the game. You know, I think it's probably, when you look at across the board all of the games, this is probably the one that could be the best game to watch. And I'm looking forward to watching it, if I'm being honest. Fingers crossed. I think everyone knows what results I'll be looking for. But I really do think that Hibs have got to play as well as what they've played this season to get a result, because it's not an easy fixture.
Do you sense that, I mean, upset's maybe not the right way to put it, because
Yeah,
Hibs are at home
yeah.
and it's a Premier League club, but do you sense that there's something maybe in there with the momentum they've got?
I think we have to be honest as well, and it would be an upset, because I think Rangers go into this game, you know, apart from last weekend, they've been in really, really good form. You know, they've really took the title chase to Celtic. You know, they've been answering a lot of questions, and last weekend has been really their first major blip. And it'll be interesting to see now how they respond to that. Because what they won't want, or what they've not had for a number of months now, is a negative reaction. Because everything's been positive. Whereas, you know, obviously the fans would have been disappointed from last weekend in terms of the result. And now they go into another, from a Rangers team, manager and fans, a tricky game. You know, it's there would have been probably other fixtures or other teams in this next round of games that they probably would have picked before Hibs, and I think that tells you how tricky a tie it can be.